Waste, a business worth billions. Circumventing recycling regulations, for example by simply burning trash, can mean big profits. For decades also German waste has been smuggled illegally to Eastern Europe. It's a touchy subject.
Please put the camera away. These are structures of organized crime.
Romanian climate activist Octavian Berceanu wants to bring the trash smugglers to justice, but they are hard to catch. Yet again, an illegal Romanian landfill is on fire. A year ago, Octavian Berceanu was head commissioner of Romania's environmental police. He was leading the investigation.
A lot of materials were burned here. For 20 minutes, there was a lot of smoke. 2 fires like that, and the south of Bucharest would be engulfed in smoke and stench.
In fact, all of Bucharest suffers from big environmental problems. Several times in recent years, limits have been exceeded 100 times over. The problem isn't just vehicles, there is also the constant illegal burning of waste, including from Germany. Last summer, Romanian border police discovered over 1,800 tons of suspicious waste in the Black Sea port of Constanța. It was declared as plastic, but it also contained metal, tires, batteries, and even carcinogenic asbestos. Hazardous waste, according to EU regulations. There seems to be an international network behind this practice. The trash was exported by a German company called Melor Edelmetall near Hamburg. The Romanian importer had already been investigated for recycling fraud. A Belgian intermediary is also involved, and it's in the sights of the Belgian authorities. According to registers, it's also co-owner of the Romanian company. At European police agency Europol, Jan Oppenort explains how the illegal trash business works.
We're talking about corruption, document forgery, and also money laundering. And you can assume that these gangs are not experts in document forgery or corruption. That means they outsource a criminal act to subcontractors. Criminal subcontractors.
Europe's illegal waste business is worth an estimated 15 billion euros per year. It functions like this. In Europe, most waste must be recycled by law. In Germany, recycling companies charge 500 euros per ton, while Romanian companies charge just 30 euros, an attractive money saver. Hiring such companies is legal, but the waste can't contain any toxic components. So a German company might use a cheaper service from abroad and fail to properly separate its waste. The waste may not go through costly recycling, but might simply be burnt or buried. Only a small percentage is recycled. A few months later, we're back at the landfill with Octavian Berceanu. He's been dismissed. Environmentalists say he upset too many people in his efforts to stop trash smuggling.
These are structures of organized crime, shifting waste from countries like Germany, Britain, Italy, but also from Bulgaria and Romania itself.
This waste sometimes travels thousands of kilometers to get here. The EU says Germany is one of the most important markets for trash smugglers.
Some of the waste goes to cement factories. Some contracts cover up the fact that much more waste gets imported than these factories can burn for cement production. So the waste ends up being burned in fields.
The case is now with Romanian prosecutors, says Petrica Bacai. The chief officer of the border police is working with a state prosecutor.
The company involved has received a court summons. It's now a suspect. We've been working closely with their German counterparts in the investigation. The EU requested us to do that.
To find out how Meloa responds to the accusations, we head to Hamburg. It's home to Europe's third largest port. Each year, millions of containers are shipped from here. Some contain waste. We found out that Greenpeace has also been aware of Meloa for some time. Together with Manfred Zanten from Greenpeace Germany, we asked the company to comment on the suspicious waste in Romania. Over the phone, Meloa tells us it doesn't want to comment. 10 days earlier, we'd sent a press inquiry but got no response. Then, the manager comes to ask what we're doing. We just called you.
What about?
Shipments from Meloa found in Romania that are illegal.
No.
Yes, you're being prosecuted there.
That's rubbish. It's been cleared up. A mistake.
Would you like to say that on camera?
I'm not the right person to talk to. Please put the camera away.
A few minutes later, the manager acknowledges the investigation but says his waste shipments were illegal.
I know the Romanians are doing something, but the Romanians didn't do any analysis. They just thought, oh, there's a piece of cable or a piece of circuit board in there.
The waste was analysed by a German laboratory on behalf of Romanian prosecutors. DW has seen the reports. It says, a mix of waste was found in all containers. Plastic, wood, textiles, batteries, storage batteries, metal, copper, aluminium, asbestos. That would mean undeclared toxic components. And Polish authorities told us a waste shipment from Meloa was tagged as illegal there too. The intermediary was the same Belgian company. Polish authorities also identified your waste as illegal.
False.
Meloa is also being investigated by public prosecutors in Germany. Greenpeace too has its eye on the company.
We know that Meloa supplies waste to Malaysia, for example. We've looked into where in Malaysia it goes, and also whether that waste is contaminated with things like bromine. We're still investigating. But there's a suspicion that contamination levels are too high.
The executive says that's false and there's no bromine in his waste. We also try to get a statement about illegal waste shipments from Germany's environmental agency. That's the authority that provides statistics on German waste exports. Our interview request was refused several times. In fact, a representative wrote to tell us that these cases were irrelevant and that Europol's statements had little basis. Back in Romania, prosecutor Teodor Nita is leading the investigation. The Hamburg case is one of many cases of trash smuggling he's examining. He says the problem isn't just dishonest businesses, but also corrupt politicians. In recent years, he's repeatedly called on the government in Bucharest to finally take action against the trash smugglers.
One minister's answer left me speechless. She said, we can't do it because it would anger the big cement producers. And they have a strong lobby.
And yet, cement factories can burn certain kinds of waste to make energy, as long as they adhere to legal requirements.
They don't have filters, or they don't use them because they're too expensive, and they don't use cooling systems. The smoke goes into the atmosphere hot, and then it rains dioxins and furans, harmful substances. It's an apocalypse. Go and look.
Environmentalist Octavian Berceanu wants to show us one of the largest cement factories in Romania. It belongs to a large German company, Heidelberg Cement. He meets up with lawmaker Dragoș Popescu, who's proposed a bill to stop illegal waste incineration.
We'd like to have a national registry showing all state environmental permits, so that everyone knows which plant has been approved for what kind of emissions. Because right now, there's no such centralized information. In these regions, air, soil and water pollution are very high. A lot of waste is burned in factories.
Our request for an interview with Heidelberg Cement is refused. We're also not allowed to film on the factory premises, but the company assures us by email that it doesn't import any waste and doesn't work with any suppliers who do so. Is that really the case? Data from the Romanian border police suggests otherwise. In 2021, several illegal waste imports bound for a direct supplier of Heidelberg Cement were stopped. Berceanu is convinced that bribes are common in the waste industry to prevent illegal shipments being discovered.
I have clear evidence that this dirty money ends up in politics. For example, an advisor to 2 ministers has a 1 million cubic metre illegal dump.
Prosecutor Nita says corruption and a lack of controls are a problem all over Europe. He's on his way to another inspection.
I just got a call from the EU Judicial Authority about coordinating the case with Germany and Belgium.
In Romania, charges have been filed against the Hamburg-based company. Now a judge will decide whether Melua acted criminally or not, but Nita's work is far from done.
The criminals are very fast, very adaptable, and they don't care about the rules. They move really quickly. If we, the authorities, are immobile and they're slippery, we won't succeed.
Since China banned the import of plastic waste in 2018, waste exporters are looking more and more to countries like Romania, Bulgaria and Poland. Germany is considered a world leader in recycling, but that's partly thanks to its many waste exports to Eastern Europe.